I was so excited, and I am still excited about bringing you on. I was chatting with a girlfriend of mine that does stand up too, and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
she's a WWE champion, a healer, emotional alignment practitioner, and
that's
she's
a
doing
good
stand
joke
up
right
now."
there.
That's what she said. She's like, "Is that all in one lifetime?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. I shock myself sometimes. I'm like, wow, okay, this is cool. Like God's really got me living a lot of lives in this lifetime.
Lots of experiences, lots of
Yeah,
stories to tell and pull from. And that's how I met you, just for like listeners and stuff. It's like I met you down the road at the Good Chiropractor House of Healing,
yeah.
and it's awesome. And I'm like,
Thank
I'll
you.
totally vouch. And like, I just love going there. So it's like a good
Thank you.
reprieve and reset, especially if I feel stressed. And so I thank my friend Nikki for taking me along. I had a first visit across the board, and so but I connected with you because you had mentioned something too about anxiety,
Yeah.
and or like a transformational journey around anxiety, and I was like that like made my ears like ping, or I'm like what? So I
It,
would love to like kind of go in and share some of your transformational journey around that, like how it
yeah.
evolved and like how you alchemize it, and now on the other side you're helping people like wrangle their own their own.
Yeah. I love your words so much. Just how we drop down into a softer tone and
mm,
frequency, and we gotta go through the journey, right, and
mm.
alchemize it, and then wrangle that
Yeah.
right down. It's like, whoa, lady, And obviously, with us being in Texas, I just love that play on words because really, through my traumas, it happened 4 years ago with the pandemic,
Mm,
and so many people, maybe were taken because of the sickness or the illness. For me, it was the mental trauma around it because we
mm.
represent health, right? My
Yeah.
husband's a chiropractor. He's like organic living. I'm an emotional alignment specialist now through my traumas, and I'm a biohacker. So, when viruses come out, we just have a whole different viewpoint on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the world and government is trying to shut you down and say that's not okay, and you realize, wow, this is what puts food on the table for me.
Mm,
This is what
mm-hmm.
feeds my kids. Then my kids, are taken out of school for 2 years. So that is put on me to homeschool three children.
Wow.
And I think my body was already in fight or flight, just living this lifestyle in California. It's just kind of how it is. You are on the go always. And I enjoyed it for a very long season. And then the beauty of this pandemic for me was, God will close doors in your face, and
Mm.
you got to be so grateful. But he will open ones that are so much bigger. You just got to see it. We're so focused on this door getting slammed in our face, and we sit in this trauma, and I call it eyes wide closed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He opened the door, but you just can't turn and see that door is open, right?
Yeah.
And so I went through this massive trauma where I had a panic attack,
Mm.
and I thought I was having a heart attack. And then I had one every single day for 3 years.
Oh wow.
And that left me rock bottom. And I mean, my throat chakra was like, yeah, that was not fun.
I wore my throat chakra necklace today. I'm
Oh,
like, let's bring
good.
it.
Good. And through those panic attacks, I really did a deep dive. We had been in the health industry for 20 years, so I had a lot of tools and modalities.
Mm-hmm.
I went Western medicine, I went Eastern medicine, and everything in between. And I remember at one point trying prescriptions that made everything worse. And then just watching the protocol of medical doctors, and that wasn't working because I needed support. So I was like, okay, I need support, I'm going to see how this works. And then I tried the supplement route, and I had 30 supplements on my counter, and I was like,
Wow.
wow, this stuff is not working.
Yeah, that's a lot of supplements.
And I'm like, okay, what do I do? And I met this lady who does spiritual guidance. And it's
Mm.
really kind of getting to the root cause of why this was happening. And for me, it was like just uncovering and unfolding, and that onion unraveling, and finding the gifts in these panic attacks. And God was
Mm-hmm.
opening this door, and I had to learn how to walk through the new door, which was me
Mm.
going from a professional wrestler, a stay-at-home mom, to a healer, like an energy healer. Like, that's wild. I was like, really, God? Me?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Oh, okay. How do I explain this one? um,
Yeah. I think it's a
but the
beautiful
cool thing
transition.
about these panic attacks, which wasn't so cool at the time, is it puts you into your subconscious mind. So I
Mm.
don't go unconscious, but I am frozen. I can't see. My heart is, going fast. I can't breathe very well, but I can hear and I know where I'm at. And after
Mm.
3 years of every day, you got to start to fall in love with that. And it's not a fun
Yeah.
place to be.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, me and you are going to have a relationship, subconscious mind? Oh, okay. This is wild, And that's where your intuition is, and that's where your God voice is and your
Mm.
higher self. And when you can connect to that, you can see the open door.
Mm.
And through
Mm.
that, I got so much clarity on where I needed to go, because emotional alignment isn't something that exists. So when you're creating something, you don't have a protocol to follow. You just got to
Mm.
trust, like, yeah, this is going to work. This is going to help people.
Wow.
And that's what healed me. And then I was able to create that. And with my husband here in our office, it's just been so impactful, with him doing physical alignments and me doing the emotional alignments. The power
So
that made the
beautiful.
body heals the body. And if we
Mm-hmm.
don't believe that, if I
Mm.
have somebody coming in here and they believe that they have to have surgery, they're going to need surgery. So we
Mm-hmm.
got to get them
Power of the
emotionally
mind.
right to get them physically right. And that's where real healing happens.
Yeah. Well, I love
Yeah.
the lens, looking at it through the lens of one, like kind of creating a relationship with the anxiety, and then also as a kind of connecting point to your higher power, to your higher self. I was just chatting with a friend the other day. I'll hold you up.
Oh, I
Yeah,
can't wait to see.
this is my
Hi,
emotional support dog
sweetie.
too.
Hi, you
He was a
so
gift. I was like a gift from
cute.
God.
Oh, I love that gift.
Yeah. No, but so we were chatting and she's like, yeah, sometimes she's like, it's like a reframe in my mind or my body whenever I feel that heart fluttery. It's like also like a way or spirit wanting to talking to me or God
Yeah,
wanting to talk to me or the angels. And I was like, oh, interesting reframe. I was like, maybe I've just been blocking conversations. I've just been like, had the narrative that I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I feel the fluttery in my chest. Like I feel like this. And so
Yeah,
it's just an interesting lens to like reframe or offer that opportunity for people too.
yeah, I
Um,
love that. And to add to that, something that really helped me when I got that, because that's our intuition, right? And it's speaking
mm,
to us. But what do we know? How do we know which voice is the intuition?
yeah.
You
Oh,
know? And
please tell me.
so, yeah, the first voice you hear is your intuition or your God
Mm,
voice. Every voice after
mm.
that talks you out of your greater good. you know
That
it's
makes
like,
so much
yeah, you
sense.
should go to this place. No, I'm too tired. No, they won't like
Self
me.
doubt.
No, and so it talks you out of it, and then we get the flutter because you went against your intuition.
Uh,
Hmm. So it's like
yeah.
settling in and being like, oh, you want me to go? Okay, great, let's go.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
that's the door he's opening for you.
Yeah.
And when you're not going through the open door, he's going to make it flutter, saying, lady, wrong door, wrong door. Stop going down that door.
Mm. I
Yeah.
love that. Like it reminds me of another saying that I heard from somewhere about, it's like, are you going to listen to the whispers or are you going to have to, do they have to be yelled?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a little fluttery right now, or is it
Yeah.
going to be like full stop panic attack?
Oh, yeah.
So,
I know.
like at what point are you going to listen?
I had to get to the yell, so I don't recommend people getting there. I'm like, if you're hearing a whisper, please listen. you know
Oh,
I
there's been so
mean,
many
God was
times that
like,
I haven't
lady, how
though.
do I get your attention? I was like, whoa, okay. And you know what, he
Yeah.
got my attention with those panic attacks every day. I couldn't do anything else.
Mm,
It robbed
mm.
me of being a mom. a
Yeah.
wife, my health, my vitality,
Mm.
exercising, everything I loved, I couldn't do anything. I had to sit with
Mm.
it. And that was
Mm.
miserable. So if
Yeah.
you guys hear a whisper, please honor
Yeah.
that whisper because it's
Now,
going to come out.
I'm curious, like, did you always have a firm foundation or relationship with God, or is that something that built over time, or?
Yeah, so I grew up with that relationship, going to a Christian school all the way through high school. So I was
Mm-hmm.
really raised with that in my life. I wouldn't say my relationship was as spiritual. It was more foundational. Like, this is the Bible verses, this is the Lord's Prayer, those kind of, the
Mm-hmm.
beginning values of learning it. Then I went off into my life, and it was always a part of who I was, but I don't think I was nearly as connected to him at the way I am now. He
Yeah.
pulled me closer than ever, where I'm having conversations with him daily. And as you know, I'm having conversations with him when people come in here
Oh, and
because
I love it.
when we get into those emotions, we get into that hurricane and we can't hear him. And he's there and
Mm.
he's speaking and he's showing us the way, but we just can't hear it. And so he's just given me that gift through my traumas. Like, I can hear it for you. If you come in here and you
Mm.
give me permission, we will allow him to speak to you and reconnect you back to that voice so that we can
Mm.
listen to him. But the things that were happening in my life were so undeniably miracles that there was no way not to acknowledge him. And it was
Yeah.
weird because, in California, we don't acknowledge things like that. People just
No.
don't talk about it. It's just the way it is. It's just the culture there. And I had to get to a different place in my life to say, that's not my culture. My
Mm.
culture
Mm-hmm.
is, this is where my values lie. This is where my faith is. And let me show you the miracles and how he showed up, showed out, and showed off in my life. Because
Oh.
then, if he's done it for me, he can do it for you.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
just recently, within the past 6 months or 9 months, started rereading scripture because, like,
Mm.
I grew up in an element, but I'm also a bit of a rebel, so it like kind of like put on like I'm like,
Yeah, you are.
yeah, you know,
That's
oh
where
yeah,
that
oh yeah,
rascal comes
you
in.
know, yeah, you know about my drug dealer phone when they told me not to talk to boys when I was like 12. No, no,
I
and
just
so
started reading your book, so I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is good. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
And
she
so
got
and
me.
there's just
Opening
so much
story.
potent medicine there. And so people are like, you're weaving script. I was like, yeah, it's beautiful. And like or just like deepening the relationship because at first it used to the even I had to rework the relationship with the word God because at first
Yeah.
incited judgment or like a pushback, but now
Mhm.
I'm like reworking it or reframing it to be like a sense of love and or like endearment
Yeah.
versus versus something's like I don't know that voice like condemned me to hell when I was growing up or something,
Yeah, well, and that's a really great point you bring up because when I get different clients in here, I really kind of ask them, like, what is your relationship like? And some people, like I had a lady, she really wanted a relationship, but um, the whole, going to church thing or opening the Bible just wasn't what she was in alignment with. And so we got to a point of realizing she saw God in nature. When you get
Oh
that
yeah,
feeling, when you get that connection, she's like, when I go on the hike, I feel so connected. I said, babe, that's God.
yeah.
Because her preconditioning of her childhood, some people are raised in an institution where it's not always beneficial, or you're not feeling the
Mm-hmm.
spirituality part of it. You're not experiencing the connection. And so we got to lead you through the way that works for you. We really got
Mm-hmm.
to connect you and how you feel we can get you there. And then he'll bring you back. He'll bring you back
Yeah,
in the way it's meant to be, because there are places in this world where it's been very judgmental,
yeah,
right? Or you're
yeah.
not good enough, or you've done this, so you don't. I mean, you look at my life and I'm like, I want you to look at my life, and I'm a normal human being, and I have this connection. I've done
Mm-hmm.
crazy things, wild things, mistakes, sins, whatever you want to call them, but I'm a good human and my heart is
Yeah, at the
good.
core, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
like,
I want people to realize that and just feel that connection, because you know what, so many of us are so lonely.
yeah. I don't think I realized how lonely I was until I don't know. someone hit a chord on something. Maybe it was in a session with you, or maybe it was before I got the doll. I was like, damn, I needed some companionship.
Yeah.
Because like one of my trauma responses like hyper independent, like I can do this,
Mhm.
I can do this, I got it. But turns out we're not meant to be islands, and like we get to choose who we
Totally.
can bring on our island, and like we can throw a party if we want. But like the,
Yeah. Yeah,
weaving
and
in
that's
that
really
discernment
beautiful. I
too.
love your island analogy because also what I learned for myself, I remember my husband would be working at our office and he'd see like 100 patients a day. So he got a lot of feedback, right? A lot of, oh my gosh, thank
Mm,
you so much. This is wonderful. You're helping me. So he didn't have a lonely void. When I was home for
mm,
a decade with the kids, technically I'm not alone, but I felt alone inside. So when
mm-hmm.
he came home, I was like, honey, you have to be like 100 people for me.
Yeah,
And he was like, how the heck do I do that? I'm one
yeah.
person and I just had a full day of work.
I don't feel
And
like talking.
yeah, he didn't. And I was
Yeah.
like, wait, I'm ready. I need you times 100. And
Mm,
that wasn't something that was possible, right? But
mm-hmm.
I had to learn, how do I fill that void? And for
Mm,
me, it's really filling it with God, knowing that
mm.
I'm never alone. So when I'm on that island, I'm not alone. But
Yeah.
now, once I'm not alone by myself, I can start inviting people on the island because I feel good about my island,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
Like, this
this
is a
place is
fun island over
awesome.
here. Yeah. We got, what is it? Cha-chas or
Yeah. You're getting me hot in here.
we're getting all aligned. No, when did y'all decide? Okay, so speaking like I like rewind a little bit to the
Okay.
pandemic and stuff too. Like there was so much there. Like I think I wore gloves to the grocery store once, and then intuitively I was like, "There's just something off about this. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. I can't place my finger on it." Yeah, and then for me being an introvert, there's a big piece of like, oh, I like this, like, and I'd always said, prayed to, I don't know if it was God or at the time, I think just like I swore spirit, universe, whatever I was
Yeah.
calling, or Gus, God, universe, spirit. It's like I just want the time and spaciousness in my life to dedicate to writing a book, and then like, boom,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. In some ways, I'm like, I got my wish, and maybe
Yeah.
a way that doesn't sound that it may trigger a lot of people whenever I say that. But um at what point did you guys decide it's like, okay, this area isn't working out for us, like we're gonna pack up and move to Texas and make that call?
Yeah, we literally, the pandemic hit, and at first, there's like this week of like, are we allowed to go to work? Do we
Yeah.
go to work? Like it was new for everybody, right? And so my husband was home, and I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, so I was like, this kind of fun. It's kind of like a little
Oh
vacation.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the second week comes, is like, whoa, we're not making any money, which means we
Yeah.
can't buy food or groceries or pay
Oof.
rent or. And I was just sitting there and literally, I heard God say to me, and my relationship wasn't this close at the time. He just said, you
Mm-hmm.
got to go. And I said
Mm.
to my husband, I said, we got to go. And he said, go where?
Yeah.
I was like, he didn't tell me that part. I don't know, but we gotta go. And he's like, we had made it to a really nice place, financially in our lives. We had the nice home on top of a mountain, double gated community, the nice cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were stable. So to
Give
sell
that
all
up.
of
Yeah.
that and go, and we moved into an RV, five of us and
Wow.
two dogs. Like that's a change, 5,000 square feet to 500 square feet. I mean,
Wow.
I'm like,
That's a book
okay,
and a movie in and of itself.
totally. And it was just, we did a breathwork session and I saw the vision.
Mm,
It wasn't clear details. I just knew. And we came to Texas and we started to explore an area we heard about. And it just felt right. And I was like, and it felt right to him. And to a
mm,
point where we sold our practice, and the values that and the support that we needed to get through that season to be bigger and help more people, we had to
mm-hmm.
come here for that. And also to
Mm.
build something together. My husband
That's
really
beautiful.
built that practice for himself. And it was a time for me not to be the stay-at-home mom anymore and to figure out where I fit into this practice,
Mm-hmm.
and just build something off of a feeling we had, an
Mm-hmm.
energy we had,
Mm.
an idea with no details. And you've been in here, the way that has come together is something beyond what we could produce. Like,
Yeah.
I could not be this creative. I couldn't even get on this Zoom call with you with Chrome.
But you followed the feeling.
I was
And
like,
called it
girl, I'm
on
just going to get some support in here and we are going to get there.
support. Yeah. So just such a testimony to like taking steps in the unknown and like having faith too.
Yeah.
And like, because I definitely feel like I just like in that moment, someone sent an email the other day where it's like kind of like a trapeze artist, like
Huh.
to catch that other
Yeah.
pole, like you have to like let go and have
Yeah.
that free flying moment before it's like
Totally.
getting the grass on the necks and then doing the tricks or whatever.
Totally. It is totally like that. Another analogy is like, did you see Indiana Jones and the bridge, but there's no
Love
bridge?
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, take a step. I'm like, what do you mean take a step? Like, where I'm gonna land on my
I gotta watch
face?
that movie. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm good. And another one? Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, I got
but
this. I
so
got
much
this.
power in that, right? And so much, like, when he reveals to you your path, like a light
Mm,
just shines onto it and the good just comes.
hmm. Yeah. Are
Yeah.
there any like just like one step did you do anything to like help build or strengthen that faith, or did each step strengthen it, or is there anything that you can add or
Mm.
onto that?
Yeah. For me, I think it really started with vibrating, and I've always vibrated at this frequency, but I didn't really know much about frequencies at the time. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it was vibrating on an authentic frequency, which has been revealed
Mm,
recently that that's the highest frequency. It's above
yeah.
love and gratitude. It used to be love and gratitude is the highest frequency, which is why people wake up and write a gratitude list and try to move about their day that way instead of in worry, doubt,
Mm-hmm.
and fear. For me, it was authenticity. So when I got on my social media and I'm sharing like the worst moments of my life, like
Mm,
panic attacks and on the ground, and I can't even pick up my kids from school, the amount of support that started to pour in
wow.
was like mind blowing. Because here before I was like a professional wrestler, I had these cool posts, going to appearances or, from
Mm,
other big things I had done. And now I'm talking just about panic attacks. But it was so relatable and shocking on how many people I
mm,
knew closely who had suffered for 20 years
mm,
from this. And I was like only in my first year, and I was thinking, I won't be alive if this is 20 years.
mm,
And I
mm,
knew in that moment I needed to discover how I can help myself and other people
mhm,
with this, because the medications, the supplements, all of that, it just wasn't working. There's certain things I use to support my system in that time, but it never
mhm.
gets to the root cause. They're
Yeah,
all band-aids.
yeah, for sure. That gives
Yeah.
me like truth bumps as you talk about it, because
Truth bumps.
well, I call them well, they're chills, but I like the word truth bumps more.
Yes, ma'am.
Because like I feel like those sensations in our body are like telling us things. And I read this
Ah,
book, Existential Kink, I believe, and she's like lean into like feeling that when truth has sensation in the body. And so I'm like,
ah.
oh, well, there's some kind of resonance there. Whenever
I
like
love
I'm lit up with the chills across my body, I'm like,
that.
oh, well, like that just incites like a little feeling of curiosity
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
me. I'm like, oh, or just like even confirmation as well, because there's so
totally.
many people still struggling with mental health issues. Shoot,
Yeah.
like just within like I mean 6 months ago, I like I'm like it's like this roller coaster sometimes
Yeah.
for me. So I'm like, wow, I've got all this joy, and then I'm like, okay, the opposite of that is like I can feel some lows, you
Yeah,
know, and I'm like
totally.
I'm having some weird thoughts when I'm pulling, and so I'm like, all right, let's realign, let's reassess, let's get to
Yeah.
the core
Well, and
core
the truth
root, let's
is,
support myself.
what I've learned about that is that's life.
Yeah.
And at one point when it was really low for me in those 3 years, I was like, I need to fall in love with the really low
Mm.
time. Because we all love the
Mm.
high time.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, we
Yeah,
don't even
yeah, for sure.
appreciate when we're on the high time, right? We just, life is good, we
Until we're
forget
in
it.
the low.
When we're in the low, you're like, whoa, I should have appreciated that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like in a professional wrestling match. There's this part of the
Mm.
match in every match, and we call it the heat. And the heat is when you get the crap beaten out of you.
Mm.
And when I wrestled, I was never the best wrestler or the best high flyer or had the coolest moves. But what I was the best at was taking the beating, taking the heat.
Mm.
And in every match, if you go through it, you get a comeback.
Mm.
Always. And so you need to love the heat because that's where we grow. That's where we
Mm.
learn. That's where the
Yeah.
lessons are, the gifts are. So anytime I'm in the heat, those 3 years, I was like, God, what is the lesson? What is
That's
the
so
gift?
true. The
More lessons? Wow. I mean, that's 3 years of lessons. That's a long time.
spiritual warrior. Yeah. I signed up to
Yeah.
learn a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
That's
I
what I'm
just
like,
didn't know
okay.
I signed up. I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah, no, me either.
oh you
Until
signed me
like
up.
there's a pivotal moment where someone was like looking at my hand. She's like, "You have what I call alien hands. I think you signed up to learn a lot of lessons this lifetime." I was like, "No shit." I was like, "But I signed up for it, and I'm a
Yeah,
healer." What?
yeah.
Are you
What?
kidding
Yeah.
me? Yeah. I've never felt more fucked up in my
Yeah.
life. But I love looking at, like, I love and I have a deep belief in that all things work out for good, even if I can't see it in the moment. And like
Yeah.
there are some challenges, and that too gives like kind of like goes along with what you were just saying about being in the heat. And
Yeah.
one of my friends like told me, he's like he's actually one that kind of like spurred another look at like looking at scripture. He's like, this deep sense of all things working out for good. He's like, it's probably, he's like, you got that from your mom, right? I was like, yeah, my mom was like an Al-Anon queen and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But she's like, she probably got that from Romans like 8:28. And I looked at it and I was like, oh,
Oh,
cool. Okay. Like, and so it's just like, interesting. But I love seeing it also. It also helps us, I think, take a more empowered stance from
yeah.
from all the stuff that's happening to me. If I know that there's going to be, or trust that there's going to be a gift on the other side, or a
Yeah.
lesson, or some kind of comeback,
Yeah.
some kind of story to sing, some kind of, medal to wear, or badge of honor, or some kind of gift to gift
Yeah.
others, then it helps me get through it, or
Well,
like
and
go
that's
through the
that little
burn.
light, the little light in the
Mm,
darkness, whether it's depression, anxiety, whatever is bringing us down so low. That little light is the only thing that got me through, is knowing that I would learn something to help somebody else. I knew it.
mm-hmm,
I just knew it. And I prayed to see what I needed to learn faster
mm.
because, when you're in it, it was like, that was my prayer. Can you please show me just a little faster than what we're doing?
Like, does it have to be painstakingly slow?
Yeah,
Like, unless
totally.
unless patience is one of those things that I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like I have to learn. No, that's so funny because like I had an anxiety aha moment. I had taken like a little microdose of mushrooms, but I was laying on
yeah,
my floor in front of my couch, and I had that aha moment and several months ago about I was like, to love all of myself, I have to love my anxiety too. And then it
mm,
had to be, and at first it was like I
so
have
good.
to. Yeah, and then I was like, oh, actually I get to. Like I've been this
Yeah,
miracle of an experience. I've been chatting with people recently and I love looking at it so through the lens of like, oh, I'm not a project to fix by my birthright, by my creation. Like I'm actually more of a miracle to explore. And it's not my words, it's somebody
ooh,
else's. I don't know
that's
where it came
beautiful.
from, but I love having that approach. It's like
Yeah, well,
more
and the thing is,
compassionate.
the anxiety, and I just want anybody that's listening
Yeah.
to know that suffers from this because it is, I mean, I think it's like 1 out of 3 people in the
Yeah.
world. So this is a
Yeah.
very big thing. It's showing you something. It's
Yeah.
showing you something you're not seeing or
Mm.
listening to, and it's going to take you to your greatness. So when you start to love
Mm.
it, the way you said, love all of me, including that, it's actually kind of the most beautiful part because your body is saying, hey, we're not going down the right path. Hey, there's
Mhm.
something better. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
trying to show you. Can you please listen? And it becomes just so incredible that you have that gift, that the body knows to do that for you. And by the
Mm-hmm.
way, anxiety and panic attacks prevent you from having a heart attack. So, what a gift
Mm.
that is,
Oh yeah, thank you.
right?
Yeah.
Because when I first had one, I thought I was having a heart attack, and I was like, "Wow, I need to get my heart checked." And then I got my brain checked, and I was like, "They're like, oh, it prevents you from having that." And I was like,
It's like,
"Wow, thank you, God,
whoa.
for that panic attack, because I did not die from the heart attack." You
Mm-hmm. Like
know,
your body's
it
natural like
reminds me of
healing way. Okay.
really the eyes wide closed thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had this aha moment. My husband and I, we drive down the same driveway, and we live in the country a bit, so we got a lot of land. And as he pulls in every night, he sees the beautiful sunset. He
Mm.
loves it. He will sit out there and relish in it and soak it in, and it will lift his spirits and frequencies. I go in the driveway, I saw all the weeds and the grass that wasn't cut
Mm.
and all the work that needed to be done. Same
Mm.
driveway, same time,
Mm.
eyes wide closed. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
to myself, as he kept saying it, I was like, how come I cannot see that sunset? Why can
Mm-hmm.
I not appreciate that? Because my focus is on the weeds.
Yeah.
I
That's
had to
such a
shift, get
yeah.
on a different hamster wheel. I was like, no, no, ma'am. I see that sunset. I see the
Mm-hmm.
roof over my head. I see the food on the table. I see the clothes on my
Mm.
back. My kids are provided for. They're learning and growing, and we are just fine. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have abundance when you think you don't have abundance.
Yeah,
Abundance
true.
isn't financial freedom. Abundance is better than financial freedom. Sometimes we go after the wrong frequency. You go after
Mm-hmm.
abundance, you got to start realizing you already have all that you need,
Mm-hmm.
and then you manifest and bring in everything else.
And
That's a big
also,
shift.
and also it's like abundance. I mean, you gotta be real specific and clear sometimes too, because it could be like
Yes,
an
ma'am.
abundance of gifts and lessons to learn, you know. But first, you got to go through the trial to get to the other. That reminds me. Like I think just the words. Like I've always loved. Like The Secret was my gateway drug in like 2006. Thankfully, gratefully for my parents and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like the power of perspective and awareness was like sometimes you can still get pigeonholed or like looking at certain things. And I forgot exactly where I was even going with this story, so I'll have to come back.
It'll come back. It'll come back
Yeah.
when we need it to.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
I
help
get it.
you.
I
Oh,
got
you
it.
got
No,
it.
yeah.
Okay, good.
No, so I used to say like different affirmations and things like,
Mm,
I'm so grateful. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm a published author. Da 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 da. And
yeah.
then it was funny to me, like later on, it was like that God has a sense of humor, like a very
Oh,
divine sense of
totally.
humor, because I
Totally.
was published in someone else's name first before my own. So I was like, oh, okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. I
Which,
had the same thing happen. We live a little far out, and with our three children, I've been praying for a house closer, right? And
mm-hmm,
these doors have kind of been closing in my face, and I'm like, why is he closing these doors? Like he knows this is better for our health and our time and community
mm-hmm.
and what we need in this season in our life. And I was laying in our office on the chi machine, and I was praying about it, and he said to me, he said, Candice, I've already given you the house because we named this
Mm.
place House of Healing.
Oh, another sensation.
Girl. And then I was praying, I wanted a house that was big enough I could have a war room for my prayers. And he said,
Oh,
I've already given you the war room.
yeah.
It's here.
Wow.
And I said, but no,
Ugh.
God, I said, I want the community. And he said, and I got off the chi machine and I saw two patients exchanging phone numbers. He said, I've already given you the community. Eyes wide closed. My eyes were just closed. He had already
Mm,
given me everything I was praying for. And
mm.
that's
Beautiful.
abundance.
Yeah,
Seeing
beautiful.
what you already have.
Yeah, anytime I'm feeling that lack, it's like I have to reroute myself. It's like, actually, no, I love my place. I'm like, I got gifted this dog whose name is like Messenger Army. you know, I'm like, okay, I've seen something,
I
which is a
see.
spiritual initiation and releasing control. Like, I'll tell you something I think is funny. Like, I used to see like dog moms post things
Yeah.
and like dog mom, and I'm like, yeah, but it's not a human. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like that was a story I had in my head, and I'm like, I don't know, like, sure, you're a dog mom, and then within what a couple of days, I'm like, okay, I get it, I take it back, I take it back. There's so much work time. You're a dog mom. I have such a deeper respect for dog moms and human moms,
Yeah.
especially because I'm like, it is so much work and
My
dedication.
favorite thing is I don't know if you've heard this now that you're a dog mom.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
they say the humans always look like their dogs.
Oh.
And so we had a boxer, and he is the best dog. He's big, but he's gentle. I call him a cowboy. He just gently puts his paw on you. He doesn't roll in the dirt. He's so kind when he takes a treat. And then we got him a female. Girl, that female is queen. She sits on the table, she rolls in the dirt, she jumps in the sprinklers. I was like, I said to my husband, I said, do you think I'm the female? Because I already knew, girl, I'm the female. I'm causing a little chaos up in here, and he's that gentle cowboy. I was like, wow, we really are like our dogs.
It's so true. Well, even like there's like as far as like the energetic like sensing too. I noticed like the other day I was feeling frustrated and I'm because I have like OCD like tendencies and stuff like that. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And I noticed his energy was like nippy and just like and so I was like, you know what? when he went in, I kept putting him in his crate. I'm like, I'm gonna take my little sensual bath, gonna feel the water on my skin, gonna release all the shit down the drain, and I'm gonna come out and be like cool, calm, collected. And I did, and then like his energy shifted so much. We watched a little Netflix and like cuddled
Oh,
up, and I was like, wow, I'm like, this is such a lesson in like that mirroring and stuff as
yeah.
well. So
Well,
interesting.
and that also teaches him now in the future to be the
Mm-hmm.
support dog, right? Like, so when
Mm-hmm.
he sees you that way, he's going to know what you need. And just him coming up to you is going to bring you cool, calm, and collective a lot faster.
yeah, good. My turn is buddy.
After
um,
he's a year old.
yeah. So, I'm like, speaking of your, what do you call it, spiritual war room? War room?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've gone in there twice so far, and I've absolutely loved it. I would love to kind of like give a sample or like what it looks like or how you or like even what modal I don't know what modality is. All I know is that I'm laughing, I'm crying, I'm tapping into things I haven't thought about maybe since that fourth grader or something. And I thought like there's some things I'm like I thought I had healed some of this,
Yeah.
or like it's coming like no, there's more. So I'd love to like talk about that, and then maybe how you connect with the guides, angels, and God and stuff. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how you.
So the first part, it's really important for us to heal at the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
And before I was doing this, I was doing motivational coaching. And
Mm,
as you know, we can find somebody that we love, and they'll tell you to do A, B, and C. But the chances of us really following through on all of that, even
mm,
if we love it, are
mm-hmm.
very slim. Very
Mm,
few people will actually do everything needed to get them to their goals. However, in here, in the spiritual war room, we're going to muscle test with applied kinesiology how your subconscious will
mm,
share with us how you need to get to it. Because
mm,
once you reveal it to yourself, now you're going to get to A, B, and
mm,
C, right?
mm-hmm.
And so my job is to really help you unfold it. From my connection with God, sometimes it's just really powerful because sometimes my clients, when you're up in the hurricane, you can't hear it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can help guide you to hear it. And I'll,
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that with muscle testing. I'll be like, is this from what age, and it will
Mm-hmm.
tell me the age, and then I'll find the emotion. There's a book called Emotion Code that's kind of on that wavelength. But then the gift part is just, I'm connected so unwavering that I
Mm-hmm.
know without a shadow of a doubt that this was a message from God. And I'll share
Mm-hmm.
that with you, and
Mm-hmm.
then from there, most times, and you've been in here, you just know that I couldn't have delivered that message. It's beyond my
Mm-hmm.
knowledge. And when you know it's
Mm-hmm.
beyond my knowledge that I couldn't know that, there's only one place it can come from. And that's
Mm-hmm.
from him. And you were talking about this a little bit, like how these confirmations happen. I really love that. And sometimes I call it signs and wonders. Um,
Mm.
when you go out in the world, and I remember this time I was on a freeway and a turtle's crossing the road. And I was like, really? A turtle? I'm like, how did the turtle make it across those two lanes? And now he's
Mm-hmm.
on this side. And I was like, where is he going? And I just look up the spiritual meaning of that, and it was abundance and prosperity.
Mm.
But it's what I had been praying for all month. So it was that sign saying, I got you. You may not
Mm-hmm.
have it yet, but I got you. I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that faith, keep the hope, keep the love, keep the peace in your mind and body that it is coming to you. And then it's funny, I had a client, she's like, I see so many signs and wonders. When are they going to stop? And I was like, wow. I said, well, do you want to see the weeds?
Yeah, no, no, I'm like, I want to
Because
keep seeing.
she goes, no, I'll see the signs and wonders still.
And I feel like once we start paying attention to like little signs like that, the more frequently we can see them. Kind of
Yeah.
like speaking of to the weeds or the sunset.
Yeah. And so
Mm-hmm.
I always use that kind of mindset
Mm-hmm.
now. When I realize that, I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the weeds.
Mm.
We got to get quiet, either some breath work. In here, we have a vibroacoustic sound bed
I
that
love it.
I use.
Yeah.
It's a really special modality because what I learned is once we can get to the root cause of these emotions to get you emotionally aligned, it doesn't necessarily mean it's out of the fascia in your body. And the fascia is
Mm.
all the connective tissue in your entire body, which for me is the Holy Spirit. And that is how it flows. And if you want to be in that flow, we got to release all the negative frequencies. So the
Mm-hmm.
vibration with the sound harmonics on the programs, it flushes that out of your system. So it's like, okay, I got this. I know what I'm going to do. I know how to
Mm-hmm.
get through this. And you just get that support of release.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And then I know, so do you, I know like my sessions have been in person. Do you offer any like virtual kind of session
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah, most of my sessions are actually virtual.
Oh,
And so
okay.
we just kind of do a call like this and we go through the whole process. I think people love in person because they get the vibroacoustic sound
Yeah.
bed. Obviously, that's the only element we don't get.
Well, and
But
your energy in person
uh,
too. And like, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I love that. Thank you for that. Um, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, the online, or it'll come back, but the online, like most of them are in person or online or virtual sessions where you come in like this.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's there. I know it's been here.
Yeah. Oh, I
But
have brain farts sometimes,
yeah, yeah, I was like,
obviously.
oh yeah. But yeah, I do. And I like doing 6 week courses, so people can
Mm,
come in for just a session. But my favorite, I discount 6 weeks because consistency over time equals results, right? It's
mm,
like you're going to come in here, we're going to have an impactful session, you're going to go in the world, you're going to see the signs and wonders, and then those other voices start talking. No, that was
mm,
fake. No, that's not real. No, I can't do this. No, I'll never get that. So after a week, it's like perfect timing for it to be just like, okay, no, yes, you can. And now you continue to see the signs and wonders, which releases dopamine in the brain. And so this is
mm,
like the natural antidepressant. We're getting the chemicals to release to get you out of worry, doubt, fear, depression,
mm,
anxiety. And you're like, why am I feeling better? You like can't really connect it. It's because your brain is releasing the chemicals that you
mm.
need now to support that. I remember what I was going to say about the virtual one.
Okay. I love how that happens.
What I've learned from my self healing and a lot of clients is, and especially women, we just need to be seen.
Mm.
And I had a place when I was healing that when I walked in there, a total mess, barely able to stand up, not sure if a panic attack was going to hit. I just knew they had me. I just knew they had me. If they had to take me in the back, if they had to hold my hand for a new supplement that I was trying, whatever it was, I knew they had me. So in creating our place, our goal first was for you to feel safe. And I work really hard, virtually or in person, that you feel safe to share those things that we've done wrong, or heal from them, or get forgiveness, because those things can harbor on forever inside of us. The guilt and the worry
Or
about
the
them,
shame
the
too.
shame. And then the second thing was for people to feel hope again. Because when you
Oh.
have hope, you have a light, and that prevents. In
Mm.
wrestling, I had so many friends that committed suicide before
Wow.
they were 30 years old.
Wow.
And, if you imagine going from stardom and fame and having everything to you have no job, it's hard to go from that to working at Home Depot, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's a mind warp. Instead, I've learned from my experiences that starting over is the most beautiful thing ever.
Mm.
And I do this new thing to remind me how beautiful it is. In our office, I clean our toilet every day.
Oh.
I'm a staff person now. I don't ask her to do it. My husband doesn't even know I do it every day. It's my way to say thank you, God, for this opportunity.
Yeah, and like,
Thank you for this place. I will do the lowest chore to the highest chore and anything in between because I have the opportunity to. The worst
mm-hmm.
place is when you don't know what your opportunity is. Cleaning
Mm.
the toilet is not, that's an opportunity. I can
Yeah.
grow. I
Yeah.
can get to a place, and when I get to that place, I'm going to still clean the toilet because I know where I came from, and I know I can do it again, and I know I can leave all the fame and fortune I've always had, and I can start over and I can have it again
And
because I
recreate
figured out the
yourself.
formula,
Yeah.
right? And so when people,
Beautiful.
I taught my kids how to clean their toilets this year.
Yes.
I was like, girls, this is what you do, and they were like, they
Did you
had,
tell them that story too?
well, they had
Or
so
they?
many years of us being blessed and fortunate to have cleaning ladies, so they never
Mm-hmm.
had to learn that. And my
Mm-hmm.
daughter's about to go, well, in 4 years, if she continues to choose college, she's going to be
Mm-hmm.
on her own.
Yeah.
She's going to need to learn how to clean her toilet.
Yeah, for sure.
Or she's not going to be happy.
Laundry, toilet.
She's holding the rag like this. I was like, girl, that's your toilet. How you do one thing, you do everything. So if
Mm-hmm.
you know you can come into our place and have a nice place to use the restroom, you know that you can come in my spiritual war room and we're going to have
Yeah.
a discussion.
You can clear out shit in many ways. No, I loved it too. When I first started working with Dr. Kenji, he's like, okay, but he's like, well, right when the beginning, he's like, we need to get you in with Candice just to make sure that like some of these like misalignment is like, are the like let's clear out or take care of the emotional component too. And I just love the harmony and balance between like the physical and the emotional.
Yeah,
Um,
and by the way, God really blessed us with this because when he had his first practice, I was just new in my wrestling career, so I wasn't working as much. And
mhm,
we didn't have the finances to hire somebody. We were building from scratch. And so I
mhm.
came in and I was his receptionist, and we will never forget this. He told me how to organize the pens. Girl, I said, don't tell me what to do. I got up and left, and I never went back to that office ever. So you see the learning we had to do, husband and wife, and come together in communion here and make this beneficial. This is what marriage really looks like, you
And like
know?
to be a fly on the wall during some of those conversations. Right. What a testament too, though.
But
Oh,
it's
no, we're
been
not going to chew on the earbuds.
he's like, don't forget about me. But then he started to realize, in his practice, I still call the old practice his because I wasn't in there working, I was working at
Mm-hmm.
home. Um, he would have people come in with back problems, and if they weren't getting better, he was confused. And then they would start talking and saying, I'm going through a divorce right now. So the
Mm.
body starts to tense up, right? The fascia starts to
Mm.
tighten in the body with all these emotions. And most people don't have a safe place to go handle those, and
Mm-mm.
especially for men.
Yeah.
Men just harbor that and they build it and it breaks down their body. And so
Mm.
now it's this element of saying, okay, let's handle those emotions from the divorce and
Yeah.
then we'll handle that physical pain. And
Mm.
that's what really why people come in here and if they're like, this is just different. It is different. It's
Yeah,
very
it's
different.
amazing. Like I was
Yeah.
hoping to maybe go over there today, or if I can't do today, I'll probably do Saturday.
I love
And I'm
when
like
I
to do my
see
like a little regimen. I'm like, I want to get the chi machine and get
it.
adjusted and
Yeah.
the biocharger, all the good things. Um, yeah. So I was curious too. Do you see more men coming in for the emotional alignment
Yeah,
as a
it's really been a big testament. They usually come in for Kenji first,
mm-hmm.
or by a referral. And one
Mm-hmm.
guy was my favorite. He was coming in, and I just knew it was all emotional. And he had a lot to work on.
Mm.
Where like half of his body wasn't working, a lot to work on.
Mm.
And I was like, when are you going to come in? And he was like, I'm scared of
Ow!
that room. He just kept walking by. And one day he's like, okay, I'm going to come in. And after that, a few sessions, he said to me, he said, I used to dread coming to your room. And now I can't wait
Mm.
to come to your room.
Mm.
And I was like, that's the best compliment you can give me.
Yeah.
And so it's really kind of knowing how to handle it. It's the most masculine thing you can do. Holding
Mm.
that stuff in, it makes you show up on a low frequency, whether you're
Mm.
married or wanting to date or a father, right? Like your
Mhm.
frequency is filled with anger, resentment, guilt, all that stuff. When you can raise that frequency, men are the leaders of this world. I'm a female and I know there's female empowerment, girl. I know I'm queen, but I want a
Mhm.
man. I want a cowboy. I want somebody to
Yeah.
saddle up and rein me in, right?
It's like I can help craft the vision, but like the masculine takes a lot of action and leads.
Yes, yeah. But we've gotten so much in our society, and I'm included in this, of we're demasculinating our men, right?
Mm.
Because we're powerhouses. And I
Mhm.
like to be a powerhouse, but I also have tools to drop into my femininity. I got to be
Mm.
very aware of it. I naturally reside in my masculine energy, but when I
Mhm.
drop into my femininity, ooh, girl, that's where
That's
the power
magnetic.
is.
Yeah, I'm like, that's
Yes.
magnetic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like speaking to the men, I'm like, and we want your emotions.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm like,
Well, and
I'm like,
people show up
the
differently.
vulnerability.
When
Mm.
you're aligned and you're confident, even the
Mm.
people who are not the best looking, when they walk in with that confidence and like that masculinity and that strength, you're like, oh, yeah, I feel that. I
Mhm. It's
feel that.
kind
I
of
don't know what that is, but I want that.
yeah. To me, it's like helps like peeling back layers or core things to
Mhm.
get to the core to get to the authenticity element to help
Yeah.
people like shine and
Yeah.
share their truth or radiate in higher frequencies. I
Yeah,
think that's
and that's the
beautiful.
highest frequency. And so, so many times, especially with social media, I am a victim of this too. I can get on there and be like, "Oh my gosh, she's so much more pretty," or he's
Mm,
so much more talented, or that their Instagram looks so much more put together. And I came to the realization of that's not human. No,
mm-mm,
no relationship looks like that.
mm-mm.
And instead of striving to this perfection idea that doesn't exist, I would rather put out reality. Like, this
Yeah,
is what this looks like. This is what love
yeah.
looks like. And because then we can understand when we have love.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have love and we push it away because it didn't look like that love in the movies. but that's not really love.
Or like I know we said in a session too, like the hurt was blocking the love that we already had that was already
Mm,
existing there. And I
yeah,
love that. I love that too.
yeah,
And I know we're
totally.
coming up on our hour. So
Yeah.
I would love for you to share like what's the best way to reach you, connect with you. He's like, you're coming to life too, buddy.
Hi,
He's like, I'm
handsome.
ready for my close up.
Aww. Yeah, the best way to connect, we're the Good Chiropractor, House of Healing in Bee Cave, Texas. Thegoodchiropractor.com. I'm Candice Michelle on Instagram, and there's a booking link there or just a place to reach out
Beautiful.
and share and comment. I'm on Facebook and all that, but I'm a little more active on Instagram. And so those are always really safe places. And so if
Awesome.
anybody needs that, I hope that they can reach out and know that there is that light for them, and we'll find it. 100% we'll find
And
it.
stoke it.
Yeah. I feel like this has been a
We'll blow
very
on that
sensual discussion.
fire.
Yes, girl, yes. I will help blow on your fire any day.
Oh, I love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for trusting me and having me on here
Mm,
today. Your
mm.
energy and your presence. And my favorite thing is your laughter. Oh, I want to share one
Oh.
last
Oh,
thing
yeah, please
because I
do.
love your laughter. I didn't have a laugh before my traumas.
Mm.
And through my traumas, I started, it was so bad, girl, that I had to laugh at it because I was like, wow, this too? Like, what else can you put on me right now? And it was so crazy that I had to laugh because it was like unbelievable how bad and how low I was.
Yeah.
And then I realized one day somebody said, I love your laugh. And I said, me? My laugh? They're like, yeah, it's amazing. And I started to laugh more. And I was like, I found my laugh in
Mm.
my traumas.
Mm.
Girl, that's a gift. And I
Mm.
love your laugh. When you come, I just
Oh,
know we
thank
can
you.
laugh. It's a frequency, it's a
Aw.
vibration. You
Mm.
know, when you can laugh, you bring joy. And so the pain and the hardships, they disappear.
Yeah.
They're okay. We can
Yeah.
handle that if we can
We
laugh
can laugh
about
at our
it.
traumas together.
Which was so crazy because, through my traumas,
Hmm.
God brought me to share them as a stand-up comedian. I was like, wow, you
Which
really
is
are
so
trying
ballsy. I think
to
that's like one of the highest, like most ballsy arts or creative forms of expressions. And so I'm just like, high five, cha cha bump, all across the board.
catch up bump. I love your words. You have the best words. But isn't that crazy? Like through traumas, he puts me on a stage to
Mm,
share my traumas and laugh
mm,
at them. Wow, that's a
mm,
healing moment. It's powerful.
mm-hmm.
You know,
And
and
incite
and
others to laugh.
yeah. And so then if they know if I can laugh at my traumas, please laugh at yours because
Yeah.
that's where the healing medicine is.
I love it.
Healing is
Uh,
fun, lady. Healing is fun.
yeah, it is, but it's not a straight line, but it's a fun.
This would be so boring.
Yeah.
Oh, but I love that you did this because
Mm.
when people are spiraling, they think of it like this.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is it's this. You're
Mm.
spiraling upward to find the next greatest self. We don't spiral downward. No,
Mm-mm.
ma'am. We
Mm-mm.
spiral upward. You know the spiral staircases, they go up to the next
Mm-hmm.
level. We level up when we
Mm-hmm.
spiral. So if
Yeah, we
you're
can look at.
spiraling, just think
Yeah.
we're leveling up, babe.
Yeah, yeah. I
You're
love it.
awesome. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
having me
honey.
on today. I
Thank you.
appreciate you and I see you and I honor you and
Mm.
I value you and I love to laugh
Mm.
with you.
Same.